I'm gonna say, you're gonna laugh. You know, the first thing that I thought about with Berlin, there were so many bees. Like, sorry, but we were at that championship, there was bees everywhere. I've got no idea what was going on. So I remember warming up for the one and obviously being nervous, focused, all these things, but also being a bit terrified because there was bees everywhere. So anyway, we'll move past that. I remember the last race before I came into Europeans, I did awfully. I think it was London Diamond League. I ran the 200. I knew I was in great shape, but I ran really badly at London. I was really disappointed. So I remember coming into Berlin, I was a bit frustrated actually because I knew that I was in a great place, but I think underperforming in London had really instilled on me the need to execute in the moment. As an athlete, most of the time you know what kind of shape you're in, you know what you're capable of, but that means absolutely nothing unless when the gun goes, you actually do what you're meant to do. Otherwise it's just a could've, should've, would've, you know? And having that race that I was not happy with at all really instilled in me the need for execution.
Well, darkness has descended on Berlin, but the Berlin Olympic Stadium is lit up because the women in the 100 meters final are just about to be presented.
I remember the 100 very well because we had Daphne and Gina and Majinga. Like, there's so many very, very quick girls in Europe, particularly at that time. And I remember I did the semi. My start wasn't as good as it could be. And immediately it threw me back to kind of me not doing as well as I wanted to in the race 2 weeks before. I was like, nope, today we are not having that day. So in the final, I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna execute, and I'm gonna absolutely win this race. I have like a little routine that I do going into the blocks. I can do it with my eyes closed. I tread on the blocks, make sure they're in the ground because so you know they don't slip, because as I said, I'm clumsy. So tread on them, make sure that they don't move, because that would be an incredible Dina thing to do. And then get into my blocks, make sure that I feel primed like a little coil and that I'm ready to go. And then I kind of pick a point on the track and zone out. I try to not like listen for the gun. I just try and think about what I'm gonna do in 3, 4, 5 steps time, because I find that you're actually a quicker starter when you just feel, especially the first few steps, you just feel it and you just go.
Well, Asher-Smith out very quickly, so too Kambundji, but Asher-Smith now really starting to get into a running, tearing away from the rest of the field. It's Asher-Smith all the way through to the line over the final 20 metres.
I didn't have a time that I wanted to do in my head, I just wanted to win. And when I crossed the line, I saw 10:85, which is a time I'm grateful that I've done more than once now. But at that time, 10:85 was a really big breakthrough. I just remember being like, oh my word, that's like a serious sprint a time. Like, that's like I can win Diamond Leagues, I can be a global medalist kind of time.
Dina Luckenkamper gets Germany a medal, but it's Dina Asher-Smith. And just look at that time, it's a new British record, 10:85. Daphne Schipper's gold 2 years ago, has to settle for bronze, but it's a season's best of 10:99. What a phenomenal race from Dina Asher-Smith.
It's my first championships and I came out and ran a 10:8. I was so happy. I remembered not to rest on my laurels and bees. Those are the strongest memories out of the Berlin 100-meter race. I remember feeling very tired and I remember thinking, wow, I've still got the 200 to go, I'm exhausted.
Here we have a superstar of the 100 metres, Dina Asher-Smith, who smashed the British record there. I wonder if she'll do that same feat again in the 200 metres.
I think we might have had a day in between the 1 and the 2. And I remember John told me, right, you've got to go to the track, warm up, do pre-meet for the 2. And I was thinking, John, I'm exhausted. Like, I was aching, I was taking ice baths. I was like, John, I'm tired. And he was like, no. And I was like, I barely slept. Like, I was so excited about the 100. I didn't sleep much, all of these things. I remember lining up and being like, right, let's get this qualification done and go back to sleep. So I think we did the semi, did that, I was cool.
But it's Asher-Smith who's pounding away from the track. Well, 22:34, and it looked pretty easy for Dina Asher-Smith, and perhaps we can expect something special in the final.
When you're inside the stadium at European Championships, the kind of atmosphere can feel very much like a World Championship.
What a treat this promises to be. Women's 200 metres final. A chance for Dina Asher-Smith to get the double, a chance for Daphne Schippers to excel at her best event, twice world champion, so here they come.
I remember I was raising Daphne, and Daphne is, I think, again, somebody who is incredibly underrated. Not only was she phenomenal, but she's a nice person. And I was like, look, if I want to win this race, I have to get out and I have to be off the bend first, because otherwise Daphne's going to come back for me like a train. I think my coach just said, absolutely go for it. Execute and do everything that I would normally do, but just every single phase of this 200 that you go to, like, you need to elevate. If it was sharp before, just a bit sharper. Transition a bit well. Come off the bend. It was quick before, just a bit quicker.
Nowhere near as warm, nowhere near as nice sprinting conditions as we had for the 100 meters, so perhaps we shouldn't expect too much from the times, but what we can expect surely is a fascinating and perhaps brilliant race. Let's see.
He told me, I really want you to run through that line, and he prepped me for, if you feel Daphne here, if you feel Daphne there, remember to relax, don't be surprised, like, she's incredibly fast, but if you tense up, you will not get this. So he definitely really, I mean, he's a coach, but he coached me through exactly how to run that race against, like, the exact competition.
Daphne Schippers, the double world champion.
I just remember being like, cool, gonna get it done, but again, I'm tired. So it was definitely an adrenaline run. It was pure heart.
Dina Asher-Smith going for a double. Away they go, and Asher-Smith already eating up the stagger on Samuel outside her, well clear, and Skipper's a long way back. She finishes well, of course, but what a brilliant run this is by Asher-Smith.
I was just running on pure adrenaline at that point. Like, I was so exhausted.
Skipper's coming through now, but it's Dina Asher-Smith all the way down the home straight. Skipper's long legs can't catch Asher-Smith.
I was very shocked to run a 21.8. I definitely thought I had it in me to win, but I didn't know it was going to result in a 21.8. So that was incredible, and that for me was yeah, that was an amazing run. Now I double up all the time. I know that the idea of having to kind of have such a physical and emotional high, and then the drop, and then having to pick yourself back up for another event is a real skill in itself, and I think that was the first time I had to actually, like, learn how to do that. It felt really special, I think, because it was a new, in inverted commas, event for me. I'd run an amazing time, I performed under pressure. I remember just thinking, I really want to feel this again.